Greetings, friends. Thank you so much for the opportunity to share about my book. My name is Travis West, author of The Sabbath Way, Making Room in Our Lives for Rest, Connection, and Delight. And I could not be more delighted to share it with you, and I'm so grateful for this opportunity. This book grew out of a realization in my own life that Sabbath has largely been misunderstood for several generations. For some, I think it's been a rigid set of prohibitions that in practice ended up being more about how to control one's children or control one's neighbors than about establishing life-giving rhythms of work and rest, connection, and delight. For others, Sabbath has been associated with Sunday morning worship and maybe a family meal. Doubtless, others have related to Sabbath in the way that my wife and I did for many years, namely as an unconscious strategy for enabling an unsustainable practice and pace of life, which was work, 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 rush, 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 distract, 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 collapse. In this way, we upheld the letter of the Sabbath, but we rejected its spirit. And for many others, the Sabbath may mean absolutely nothing at all. Given this disparity and confusion, but also given how urgently we need practices that reconnect us to what it means to be a human being alive and flourishing in this time in history, I wrote this book to offer an expansive vision of Sabbath. It's more in line with the Bible than the rigid legacy of Puritanism. In the Bible, the Sabbath is not a system of control. It's not an add-on to an otherwise busy and anxious and distracted life. Rather, it's the central organizing principle of life. It's a radical reordering of our priorities away from the rat race, away from corporate America's cultivation of scarcity and distraction and division. But here's the rub. Our lives are not designed with the Sabbath in mind, because slowing down and cultivating contentment and gratitude and delight tend not to be great for the economy, not nearly as great as anxiety and scarcity and fear. I believe that the Sabbath is an act of protest against those values, and it's the active cultivation of a very different set of values and priorities, like connection and presence and paying attention, doing justice, offering compassion, and actually living our lives while we're alive. I believe that people desire more of these things in their lives. And they know that they'll have to make room for those experiences to grow. Because the fact of the matter is that the Sabbath will not fit snugly into our overstuffed and distracted lives. And it doesn't want to. It doesn't want to be an add-on to that. It wants to take over our lives, to reorient us toward healing and wholeness and connection and kindness, towards love, but ultimately towards delight. Delight is what my wife and I were missing in our Sabbath practice years ago. And I think delight is missing from most conversations about Sabbath today. And what I try to do in the book is to offer a vision of Sabbath rooted in the playful and hopeful soil of delight. As the book of Isaiah says, call the Sabbath a delight. So my hope for readers of this book is that they'll feel seen as they read its pages, that I've written the book to them and I've had all of the complexities of their lives in mind as I've written. I hope they'll feel inspired and empowered to begin walking the Sabbath way in their own lives. And I've given as many practical suggestions as I could at the end of each chapter for how they can do that in their lives. Ultimately, my hope is that they will experience what the prophet Jeremiah promised years and years and years ago, that as they walk this ancient path, they will find rest for their souls. Thank you so much.